Good morning. Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it is December 31st of 2020. So it is going to be tomorrow, a brand new year. It'll be 2021. And I think 2021 is going to suck just like 2020. But there's a possibility that 4, 5, 6 months into the year, maybe when the year is almost over, when 2021 is almost over, maybe things will be back to better conditions. But right now, the year of 2020 sucked big time. So, of course, we don't have any. Well, we're having a turkey today. We're going to cook a turkey today. We had one for Thanksgiving. But there's no family getting together, anything like that. Yesterday, I went to the heart doctor, and they read the data off of my pacemaker. But this thing here, over there, reads it all the time. They said everything was okay. The battery, of course, it's going to change with time, but as of right now, the battery should last for 11 and a half years in the pacemaker. So after they read the data, then they sent me down the hall to see the cardiologist, and he asked if I had any questions, and I asked a question and nodded like I understood everything he was saying. And it was over my head. He's a cardiologist. What I asked about was when I had this pacemaker put in about 10 years ago, not this pacemaker, the one before this, put in about 10 years ago, as I understand it, or understood it at the time, my heart was just occasionally not getting the signal, the thing that sends the signal over to squeeze to the other side, sometimes wasn't sending the signal over. So after 10 years, it was, as I told you, if you watched some previous videos, it was like the plan was, okay, your battery is getting, down to whatever. What we will be doing is, when it gets lower, then we will, instead of doing that monthly or every 3 months, then we'll start, having you send the data every 2 months, and then we'll have you send the data every month, and then at that point, whatever. But all of a sudden, bang, they said, nope, you need to come in and, the battery's too low. You need to come in and have a new pacemaker put in. But also at that time, I found out, okay, the part over here that sends the signal over was sending, the signal over. At some point, the thing decided, I guess, well, hey, I got this machine in here that's doing all the work for me, so I can just stop sending the signal over. That was my understanding. And because I looked in the medical records, whatever said that I was now dependent on the pacemaker, etc. But according to the doctor, when I asked, I said, I think you already explained this, but then they went into, okay, well, the top chamber sends a signal over, and it's got to the point where it's only doing it 15% of the time, and I think the pacemakers are only doing 15% of the timers. I don't know. It's over my head. Maybe if you're too stupid to understand, maybe you shouldn't have pacemakers and stuff like that. I don't know. Anyway. So then they talked about the bottom part of it. there's redundancy or whatever. Okay, well, there's actually, and they work together, and there's two or three, it's sort of like the space shuttle, having different things in case something breaks. And okay, no, but the bottom part also does, it sends signals out, and okay. Sorry I asked. Anyway, I have a pacemaker. And the device over there, the white thing, I showed it to you several times. Okay, well, it's kind of hard to see now because the light is shining on it, but I'm touching it. It's monitoring me all the time, and when I went yesterday, they programmed it in to automatically send all the data that they need. In April will be the next, they do it. It's going to be done in April, but apparently when it's monitoring, if something happens, it automatically would send the data anyway. Hey, something's wrong here. So I went to the cardiologist. I guess that's about it. Don't have to go for a year. I'm scheduled now for December of next year to go to the office. I mentioned that I got a pulse oximeter from Amazon a couple days ago, and it was only like $20. I think $19 or something. So it's the wrong way. You clip it on like this, like an alligator, and you press the button, and the top number is the pulse rate. And, I got it up, so okay, there we go. Okay, I wonder what the hell's going on. So my pulse rate is 58. And then the amount of oxygen in my blood, or oxygenated blood, or whatever it is 97. And that's okay. So when you take this off, then it, shuts itself off. Anyway, when I went to the cardiologist office, the nurse that, weighed me and did the things that they do before the doctor comes in, she pulled out of her pocket one of these and put it on me. And I said, "You must have got that from Amazon." I said, "I just got one." She says, "Yeah, I got it from Amazon." At some point, that they haven't been pushing it or anything, but I remember, something on CNN, doctors talking or on being interviewed or something, and they said, "Be sure and get your flu shot," and because you don't want to get the flu and also get the virus at the same time. And then also, if you get the flu, things are going to be bad. Hospitals are going to be crowded and all that type of stuff. And if it's the flu and something you can stay home with, or a cold or whatever, you'd be better staying home. But you need, if it, they said, if you get one thing you could have is a pulse ox thing. And if the number goes, you can, talk to your doctor and you can say, my pulse ox is whatever. I talked about this before when I did my EMT clinicals. So you would, say you have, because, the virus is, some people, bang, death, and then other people have mild cases. It just varies. It also hits you in different areas and all types of stuff. But so if you're at home and, okay, well, I don't want to get out, but I got a little bit of a fever and I'm, whatever it is, you could put this on, be checking yourself, and if it goes below a certain number, you call your doctor up or whatever, and if it's below a certain number, when you tell the doctor, or if you or when you know, you look at that number and you say, we're going to the hospital, or we're calling 911. I told you when I was doing my clinicals in the emergency room, you were required to X number of hours, days, doing that. And of course they had me, patients would come in, I'd take their temperature and the pulse rate in there. Put the pulse ox thing on them, and which of course then was connected into, the monitor, all that kind of stuff. But and I knew how to do all that other stuff that they, I wasn't going for paramedic or whatever, going for EMT training. The one thing I really didn't know was the pulse ox number, and I mentioned this before in another video, probably a couple videos. Somebody came in, they seemed fine. I mean, I checked everything, they're fine. But I noticed that the pulse ox number was a little bit low, and I mentioned before that I didn't know. I would have figured, okay, like at school, 70% is maybe on a test, that's passing. So I would have thought, 70%, that's okay, But I noticed that it was, a little bit lower than everybody else that I'd been hooking, because everybody got hooked up for that, Not because of the virus wasn't around then, it just, that was part of one of the things you could check on. So anyway, I said to the nurse, Virginia, I said, the pulse ox here is, such and such. What should it be? And she said, what? And she came over and she hollered to the doctor, such and such. I'm not sure they called it pulse ox, whatever, whatever is such and such. And then he pushed over the crash cart. But the patient, everything worked out okay. The patient did, but so then I learned, that the number is, I think if the number was like 90 or whatever, or 89, that would be also, the number, it has to be kind of high. Mine, I think, was what was it, 98 or something, which is good. I also got this. This is only like $20, temperature thing. I had another one. I have it here someplace. I can't give it away. My daughter, who, she has one too, so. But I like this one. The display is bigger. And the other one always seemed a little, I don't know. Sometimes it seemed like it didn't request. But anyway, this has a switch on it for body or object, because you can measure. Oh, let's see. This is a can of Coke that's kind of cold. So let me do this. .3 degrees. Then you can flip the switch to body. It's about 1 or 2 inches from .97. So we had trouble with I used the other device for that a while back. The ex-wife is, we're both type 2 diabetic. We both have we're old. Let's see. When we got married, she was 18. I was 26, so there's an age difference. But anyway, she's taking something that, I think for diabetes, that she has to inject herself, I think once a week. It has to be kept refrigerated. Anyway, with our refrigerator that we had, we rented an apartment here, and we knew, so, and that had to be kept at a certain temperature. And so then I did take, not this because I didn't have it. I wish I did have this one at the time. I had one that was, I didn't like it as well, but I went and measured and the temperature was not, and the plant ops people came over and replaced our refrigerator. We didn't get a new refrigerator. They just, they had a few vacant apartments, and they just took one of the refrigerators out of that and put it in our place. Would have liked to have gotten, if all of them had been, if all the apartments were rented, I guess, because they don't really have storage, or they have a shed, but maybe we could have got a new refrigerator, which would have been nice. But anyway, I am rambling, aren't I? Okay, man, let's see. The browser for Windows, what the hell is that called? I did have it on, let's see. Whatever. I can't find it. I moved it off the taskbar. I liked it, and when it was experimental or whatever, I liked it, and it has some nice features to it. But the search engine at Bing, is that what they use? Bing, yeah. That fucking sucks. So, but anyway, I went ahead and reinstalled, a newer version here. I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I guess. And I was dealing with the thing, so I finally went in and I changed it to Google. And then a few days later, it was back to Bing being installed. Oh. And what they do also, or what they started doing at some point was, Bing would be installed, but when you did a search, it would show, it wouldn't say Bing. But of course you could tell it was Bing. You know how you could tell it was fucking Bing? Because the searches sucked. Because I would do a search for something and I would get 2 or 3 entries, where before I'd have gotten, and then they were strange. They weren't very good entries, coming up on the search. And what Microsoft did was, up there where it says search, like can you see my, here, my mouse? Over here it would say supplemented by Google search or something like that, to make it with the little emblem or whatever, to make it look like you would look up and you think, oh, I'm doing a Google search. But I could tell I wasn't doing a Google search because it sucked. And I think too, what happens is, there's always updates being made. Okay, there's a, and I think what happens is every time it updates, it resets their search. I mean, okay, they're Microsoft. They should be able to come up with a good, search engine. If they can't, they just ought to use Google. Or at least let you, you can pick, but then it resets, But, so this sort of entered into a thing I've been mentioning, that I've just decided I want to go with Apple. My intention was not to, because I have stuff set up here that I've paid for and everything else with the Windows, and Windows 10, and like the program that loads my amateur radio, that, and a whole bunch of things are set up here. So I wasn't going to abandon, Windows. I would still have a Windows 10 computer, but I was and am going to get an Apple computer. I'm finally ready to move over to Apple, because I think I could do a much better job using an iPad to make, videos for YouTube and to edit them and to do various things. So I've decided to go that route. But then I've been alternate, man, the pen, the Apple pen, it's $100 or, I think it's down a little bit to 80 or something, but that's crap. And then really the one, I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money for, I don't want to spend a lot. And they got, the Apple iPad, Air, I think it is. Was it the Air? $350. But then, of course, $100 for a pen and all this kind of stuff. And then oh, and that was the problem it had. Instead of using a USB-C port, it uses a lightning port. And I don't want to use a lightning port. I do not want to use a lightning port. I do not want to use a lightning port. All of their other, devices use USB-C. And so I've been going back and forth on that. But what they're saying with Bing and with some other stuff that came up, I mean, even as of a couple of days ago, I was thinking, okay, no, I'm not even going to buy an Apple computer. I'll just stick with Windows. But then with this Bing and with some other stuff, I just decided, okay, to hell with it. I'm going to buy the Apple iPad Air, the 10.9 size. Now the 64 gigabyte, that's the starting. And I think the other is, I think it's 128, I think it is. And that's about $100 more, But, this has the A14 chip, which is their newest chip. Kick-ass. You don't need that kind of power. Really. I mean, almost nobody does. And this, would be it has a great display. But then what I just decided was, at one point I was like, no, I'm not even going to get it. I'm not going to go through all of this. And then I just decided, I think I was looking at the iPad that did not have the A14 chip, but the A12 or whatever it was also great. But it had the lightning port. That's what it had. So then I just decided, no. Then I thought, okay. So I'm going with the Apple iPad Air 10.9. It has the A14 chip, has a USB-C port, and 64 gigabytes of memory. That's, and that's like $569. And I decided, nope. I just can't go with 64 because I know. I mean, when I started out, my computer had 4K of memory, and finally got upgraded to 16K of memory. Then I was able to upgrade it to 48K of memory. And when it would log, it was Radio Shack Model 1 when it would come on and it would show memory, and it said 48K of memory. I thought, who could ever need more than 48K of memory? I have 48K of memory. Now I have 16 gigabytes of memory on my, But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade to, I'm going to go with the 128 gig. So that will be a kick-ass system for me. So I'll be ordering it here before long. Want to wait till I get my $600 surplus check or stimulus check in before I spend any money. Before I spend any money. But so I'm going to do that. So I'm hoping this next year, pretty quick, that hope you're going to see some better videos. But you know what I was thinking also just a few days ago, because I've got a Motorola, which is what this Motorola G. This is Motorola G Power, and I'm looking at this. See what you can see on the screen. But this is the Power. Well, I use Google Fi for my cell phone service. I never go anywhere. I never. This is always on. You know, using the Wi-Fi here because I almost never go anywhere. But they had the same except the stylus model for $100. So I ordered it. It's on the UPS or FedEx. No, what is it? No, not it's not UPS. FedEx? Nope, I think it's the other one. Anyway, maybe FedEx is the one. Last I checked, it was on the truck. They haven't left yet, but so then I was thinking, like the other day, wait a minute. I shouldn't have ordered, even though it's only $100. I shouldn't have ordered. What I should have just got is the Apple cell phone, which I've never had an Apple product, never had a cell phone, of course. I should have just got that Model SE, which is, I think, maybe $399 or something. I should have just got that. I could have used iMovie, that type of stuff on the cell phone. And then if necessary, I could always, transfer the video and stuff over to my Windows 10 computer and done the any extra editing or anything like that. But then I came to this decision. So, what else is going on? Oh, okay, let's take care of business here. What am I? No, this is where I'm going to go. Going to go to, let's see, here. Okay, this is where I'm going to go. I'm going to minimize this. Choose the stories. Only 6 people. I don't even know why I do this. Pope Francis has psychotic. I used to know how to pronounce that. Pain. Pray for the Holy Father. One of the GOP senators, if it takes the vote, the Electoral College met and ratified and, Biden as president, But now the next formality is that the information is presented in Congress to the House and the Senate. I'm not sure if it's I think it'll be in a joint session, I think. It's presented to them, and as a formality, they say, yes, approve, yes, okay. But if a few House members object, but they have to have at least one United States senator. And they found only one United States senator who is going to object. So then they will have a discussion of it, and then they will take, the vote, and they will approve that, Biden decide that, yes, Biden, we agree that the Electoral College voted and that they picked, and one of my children, grown children, got the $600 money the other day, my grown son here and my ex-wife and myself, we haven't got the 600 yet, but it is going out to people, and it's going out quickly this time. British lawmakers, a trade deal on the eve of the deadline. I think that was the other day. So the UK and France are not going to go to war over fishing or something. Census Bureau missed their deadline because Trump interfered and did everything he could to not, the Constitution of the United States says that every 10 years a census has to be done, a physical census, of course, has to be done, and that you count everybody who's in the United States. You don't just, and I think a lot of American people think, oh, it's a census, so they count American citizens. No, since the founding fathers, you count everyone who's in the United States. And Trump didn't want to count people that were not U.S. citizens. And he took it to he took it to the Supreme Court and everything else. And of course, they ruled that everybody has to be counted and that you can't strip out those people that are not U.S. citizens. And Trump's been down in Florida golfing. It's kind of funny. President Eisenhower, when he was president, he golfed a lot. And I followed politics and all my life. Even when I was in grade school, I remember watching the different hearings and stuff and all that kind of stuff, followed politics. But I thought, President Eisenhower, he not accomplishing enough. He's playing golf all the time, Then years later, I realized he was a Republican, but he was of course, he was, when it came time for him to decide who he wanted or what party he wanted, the Democrats wanted him to run as a Democrat and the Republicans wanted him to run as a Republican. And he very wisely, picked the Republicans because Democrats had held the presidency so long that people would have still voted Eisenhower in, but he very wisely picked the Republican Party. But later on, I realized, no, he did actually do a lot more than I realized. The highway system, our interstate highway system, and then of course, the governor of Arkansas refused to allow integration of schools that the Supreme Court had ordered. And so the governor of Arkansas called up his National Guard and posted them at the high school and prevented the 7 or 8 black children from, I guess, high school. Maybe you're not a child, but, refused to allow them in. And President Eisenhower even talked to Governor Faubus in Washington, D.C., and, said, no, you're not going to be allowed to, and Governor Faubus went back and, refused to allow the kids in and was using the National Guard. And President Eisenhower, a Republican, took over, which he has the authority to do, nationalized the National Guard of Georgia and put them under his authority as Commander-in-Chief of the United States. And so the school was integrated. But Eisenhower was prepared to send, if necessary, United States troops to take the governor of Arkansas into custody. And of course, Faubus, he knew his state and he knew what was going on, and that made, he didn't have to be arrested, just standing up to the, and that cemented his place. He could have been elected forever, I'm sure, as governor of Arkansas. You know, the white people would have. But anyway, Eisenhower did. How did I get on the subject of Eisenhower? I don't remember. Ticketmaster. McConnell, man, he has been so disruptive to everything. President Trump, wants everybody to get, instead of 600,000. Well, he doesn't he doesn't care about the American people. He's just sitting there. What can he do to, you know, screw things up, but appear to be number one or what? So then Trump, Republicans didn't want to spend $600, going out to Americans, but they had to give a little bit. But then Trump says, "Oh no, it should be 2,600. It's paltry. That's no good. I insist on making it 2,000." And of course the Democrats, right, because they wanted more, But then they also, okay, so the Republicans are not going to do that, so we're going to make them vote on the record in the Senate, and they'll have to vote no. We don't want to give 2,000 people. But McConnell, of course, he's not even going to allow the thing to come up, so that way they won't be on record, as they won't have to vote and have it appear that so. Because they have that strange situation right now. Two senators are being, in Georgia, are having to have a special election. Normally you would have probably Democrats, or you'd have Republicans now normally elected, and that's what's going to happen too. But both of them, of course, have come out. They're the ones that are running. The Republican candidates are trying to get the seats. Are, oh yeah, we're in favor of give the people, give them more. So it's an embarrassment to Trump is just unsettling everything. And you don't know which way he's going to go. And he's fires people that he hires. Said he would hire the best people, and then he got. I find it's unbelievable that he could find some people that that he appointed who were so incompetent. I don't think you could. If you'd asked me, could some president come in and hire? I'd think no, he couldn't come up with the worst people, and he did. He came up with the worst possible, and of course he said he was going to hire the very best people, and he hired the worst, and then he turns around and he fires them all. Says he hires them, and then he says they were the worst and they were the stupidest, and we're sending B-52 bombers to the Middle East as a show of force. Oh my God. Dawn Wells, Mary Ann on Gilligan's Island. Way Gilligan's Island worked out, Gilligan and, was it Gilligan and the professor? Or who was it? The rest of those poor people they were all good, good actors, actresses, and whatever. But it just became sort of like Lost in Space. The robot and Dr. what's his name? They became, these other actors were the show was supposed to be, those other actors were really talented, and they kind of got pushed aside. I guess that's happened, you know. Anyway, she died of at age 82 of the virus. Okay, I guess. Let's see. A congresswoman, you know, a Republican congressman, he's he's elected where he was going to in January, you know, be a Republican congressman. He died of the virus, and now here's a congresswoman. I wonder if open a new tab. I wonder if it's a Republican or a Democrat. Of course, she hasn't died. Let's see. Okay, she's a Republican also from Florida. So, oh wow. I'm a Wisconsin hospital worker fired for deliberately spoiling. Okay, I got to read that. Why? A Wisconsin health system said Wednesday that 500 doses of the coronavirus vaccine had been discarded after they were left unrefrigerated. Now appears to have been deliberately spoiled by an employee. Aurora Medical Center first reported on the spoiled doses on Saturday and said that they had been accidentally left out overnight by an employee. In a statement late Wednesday, Aurora said the employee involved today acknowledged that they intentionally removed the vaccine from the refrigerator. Aurora's statement said they had fired the employee and referred the matter to authorities for further investigation. No possible motive given. People are strange. I mean, I could understand if somebody stole, you know, some and took it home to give to their relatives or something, but to leave it out so it would spoil. I don't know. Strange stuff going on. Okay, those are the stories that go out. What else? Oh, let me explain I did get the microphone moved over here. Remember the other day, yesterday or whatever, I had the camera here, but the microphone had been left over on this side, and I get confused, but now I have them both here. Maybe if I'm talking, I'll be talking into the microphone and looking into the camera. I think that's it. I'm going to go check and see. It's 8:38. I'm going to see if my Motorola G stylus is out for delivery. Thank you very much for watching.